Wait. Why should we be afraid? None of those things should scare any believer. The believer has ultimate victory. That's what more than a conqueror means. So the title of this video is why you shouldn't fear the enemy as a believer. Because there's a quote that is quoted, and it said, not only is the devil, he's God's devil. What does that mean? Think about what this means. That means the devil has no power within himself over a believer. He can only do what God has allotted him to do. Oh, both the Old Testament and the New Testament prove this out. Let's look at the passage in Job chapter 1. We know this story, but do everybody know this beginning part of the story? Verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them. The Lord said to Satan, "From where do you come?" So Satan answered the Lord and said, "From going to and fro on the earth, walking back and forth on it." Then the Lord said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man, one who fears God and shuns evil?" So Satan answered the Lord and said, "Does Job fear God for nothing? Have you not made a hedge around him, around his household, and around all that he has on every side? Have you blessed the work of his hand, and his possessions increased in the land? But now stretch out your hand, touch all that he has, and he will surely curse you to your face." And the Lord said to Satan, "Behold, all that he has is in your power. Only do not lay a hand on his body." So Satan went out from the presence of the Lord. Did you catch that? Did you catch that? Let's break this story down. We have Satan to come up to present himself before God and the rest of the sons of God, which are angels. Then we have Satan having a conversation with God. Then we are saying God, he's putting his man out on Front Street because he knew what he put inside of Job. "Have you considered my servant Job?" Satan said, I want to mess up your boy, but you got a protection around him. I can't do nothing to him. That should tell you something right there. But it gets better, because what happens in this story, we see that Satan's whole motive is to destroy God's people. But look who he said does it really. Catch what I'm saying? He said to God, look at this. "Touch all that he has, and he'll surely curse you to your face." Did you catch it? I thought it was Satan. I thought he was the one doing the touching. I thought he was the one doing the harm. I thought he was the one doing the trouble. Oh, remember, the devil is not just the devil, he's God's devil. What do I mean? God will use the devil to accomplish something great. What did Joseph say? "My brothers meant it for evil, but God meant it for good." The same goes for Satan. When Satan tries to attack you, he means it for evil. But God, for a believer, God will allow that attacking to cause something good to come out of it that only he knows. So in this story, we see that even the devil himself asking basically for permission to come after Job. And then greater than that, he says that he tells the Lord to touch him. Why? Because Satan don't have permission to put his hands on you. God allows that. And in that process, Satan does something evil. But God said, "I'm turning it for your good, because my plan is greater than the enemy's attacking and destruction." Oh, but that's Old Testament, Jonathan. Well, let's look at the New Testament. 2 Corinthians 12. This passage, we know this. Verse 7. Paul says, "Unless I should be exalted above measure by the abundance of revelations that I've been given, A thorn in my flesh was given to me, a messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I be exalted above measure. Concerning this thing, I pleaded the Lord 3 times that it might depart from me. And he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you. My strength is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I, Paul, most gladly, I would rather boast in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Therefore, I take pleasure in my infirmities, in reproaches, and needs, and persecutions, and distress, for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong. Why is this so powerful? Think about what happened to Job. In this passage, it says that Paul, to combat him from being prideful from all the visions and the amount of revelations that God was giving him, he said that a messenger of Satan was sent to buffet me. What does that mean? A messenger. So that means a messenger of Satan to buffet me, meaning to attack me, to thwart me, to impale me, or to do anything that's going to cause harm to me, to my flesh. But look what happened. It says that Paul he recognized where it came from, but then turned his attention to the Lord. He said, I pleaded with the Lord 3 times to do this. So think about this. It is God who doesn't want Paul to become too prideful by the amount of revelations that he is giving Paul. But it said a messenger of Satan is the one who came to do it. Think about this. Satan wants you to be prideful. God doesn't want you to be prideful. So why wouldn't it not say that God sent something to Paul to make him less prideful? No, it said that a messenger of Satan was sent. So that means God can use the enemy. God can use the enemy to do something that the enemy doesn't even understand is happening. You know why? Because God is sovereign. He controls all things. He knows all things. He holds all things. God used the enemy, and he used the enemy's attacks for good. And all the meanwhile, Satan is doing this attack for evil. It is fascinating. But this is the type of reassurance and faith we should have that our Christ, our God, is greater than the enemy. We don't have to worry about anything because God is all sufficient, all powerful, and the enemy is just a little puzzle in the piece of God's grand design. Amen.